So, we've got something interesting to show you today. It's not out yet, but it will be. Anyway, so yeah, this is pretty awesome, isn't it? So this is by MSI, no, this beauty. But yes, it does come in this bag. We've also got the DSB1 mouse, and this comes with it. So let's take a look and dive into the adventure. The Aegis comes in 3 models, the Aegis 3, the Aegis X3 and the Aegis Ti3. Today we are taking a look at the Aegis 3. The Aegis 3 and the Aegis X3 have 2-chamber designs, but the Ti3 has a 3-chamber design. But where our version of the Aegis 3 has MSI Silent Storm Cooling Pro 2, the other two, the X3 and the Ti3, they have water cooling. So what's included in the box? We've got the adapter stuff and all the cables, and then you've got the HDMI cable. We've got this absolute stunning mouse. Yes, it is a bit of a finger magnet, but it is awesome. And we do not have the keyboard at present, so side face. But you do get the tower, and you do definitely get the keyboard and the mouse and all the other cables. I'm not lying, you do get that. But look, and also you get RGBs. Smiley face. This little cute little puppy has VR on the front and VR on the back, so it's for easy access, and they really have thought about MSI. It also has PCI, SSD and DDR4 boost, Dragon Eye 2.0, low latency gaming, Killer E 2500, wow what an addition that is. And with the new Intel Optane 3, BAM! Also, on the sides, we've got carrying handles for your headphone set. You can have one for your friend on this side, you can put it on that side and it hangs lovely, very durable, very strong. And then you got one on the side there, but you know what I mean, it's lovely. I think it's really good, it's a great idea. This is a carrying handle as well, so if you're going to LAN parties, you can carry this little very small, cute computer, but very powerful at the same time. It does have easy access to get your graphics cards, M.2, and if you want to put in a PCI SSD on the side, as well as memory on both sides, because memory's on one side and memory's on that side, which is really quite cool. We'll talk more about that later. You also have directional 3D sound inside here, an audio tracker, and you also got dynamic sound, and you've got military sound grade audio as well. Now, when you take the side panel off, on the right hand side, you're going to be greeted with this lovely GTX 970. But there's obviously different editions like the X3 and the T3i. But we've got the Aegis 3. That's the one we've got. So this is a GTX 1070, and it's a full desktop graphics card, as you can see, and it's connected to a motherboard, but the riser card is kind of in there, which is quite cool. You've got an exhaust fan at the bottom, and then towards the bottom on the left hand side you've got your Wi-Fi card, and on the right hand side is where you'll find the other 8GB SD RAM, DDR4 running at 2400 megahertz. And then you've got all the nice little cable management going in and stuff like that. I do like how they separated the chamber. The chamber is really awesome. So you wonder where the CPU is. The CPU is situated behind this graphics card, which is a 7700, not the cave version, so it's not overclockable, but the 7700 version. Now that CPU is being kept cool by MSI Silent Storm Cooled-In Pro 2. So with the heat pipes from the CPU, it's been exhausted from the back, which is a very good idea from MSI. But also in this little chamber here, you've got the graphics card that can divert and dissipate heat from the side panel as well as through the bottom and exhaust heat from the back. And there is slightly a bit of air ventilation from the top as well, where it could exhaust heat from the top as heat rises. But what is another good idea is that they put an SD RAM on the other side, which is your other 8GB, which you'll find on this side, as well as your M.2, and there is also a spot for PCI SSD as well, so you can have even faster read and write speeds as well. But as you know, with having a PCIe M.2 that is that fast, it's going to produce heat, and they've put it on the left hand side so it can exhaust and dissipate heat on the left hand side and not contribute to the heat dissipation inside the case, which is awesome. It does speculate and it does say that you've got armor plating inside the actual motherboard, and it does, because I can prove it right here. So where it's connected with the SATA connection points, they're all made out of metal, so that means that you're going to have a very firm connection and it's not going to get loose, and it will last for years. Also, you can connect an SSD or a normal mechanical hard drive at the top, and what's really good with MSI, they've left it open with the SATA and the power connector, so you can have easy access and just drop it in on the front, which is easy for anyone to do. The styling, well, that is another word. The styling I didn't really like about this case at all. I thought it was very aggressive and I didn't really like it at all. I thought it was just really but now I've actually it's grown on me. I like the styling that you can have on your desk. It's really small. I like how they put the power supply in the bottom, but also made it into a base as well, and the way that they've got it anchored as well, or at an angle, you can still dissipate heat from the actual chamber itself, and the power supply is separate. And also we've got Mystic Light, not one but 4, but the Mystic Light's a little bit different from what would be in a normal consumer grade of doing it yourself. So you've got a Mystic Light that's at the bottom, at the top even, of the case, and it's around 15 centimeters long. And then on the front you've got RGBs, which are like LED lights, but there's 3 of them, and they all work concurrent with the actual Mystic Light at the top. Awesome. And it's also programmable with your phone or a desktop app. So on the front, even though I didn't like it, it was all aggressive, it does complement well with the RGBs, and it actually does look nice on the actual desk as well. But also on the front, you've got a microphone jack, a headphone jack, a power button, and also 2 USB 3.1 and a Type-C as well on the left hand side, and a VR link, which is a HDMI port at the bottom as well. And on the back, you definitely have 3 display ports, 1 HDMI port and 1 DVI out port. And not forgetting, even though it's aggressive look, it does complement the DVD rewriter as well, which is awesome. It's not a Blu-ray, it's just a DVD rewriter, and all for you old school out there, it's there. I know you just want to know like how it actually performs in games. It's got Mystic Light. Oh wow. Let's see how it performs. It's got a GTX 1070, a non-overclockable CPU, which is 7700, and it has got 16 gigs of DDR4 running at 2400 megahertz. Let's see how well it performs. So we're going to do some synthetic bench tests, and also we're going to game with it and see how well it performs. Let's get straight into it. So we've got the CPU ID, we're going to go into here real quick, and what we're going to do, we're going to tell you a little bit more about the specs of the computer. So it's not the K version, it's an Intel Core i7700, which is cool, because if it was a K version, it would be, why can't you overclock it? So this is clocked at 3.6 gigahertz. What have we got? Main board is MSI motherboard, and it's a B-rated motherboard. That's what I really wanted to get to you on, because it's a B-rated motherboard. It means that you can't overclock it anyway, but you can overclock the graphics card using MSI Afterburner, which is all good. You can't do anything else to overclock, and you can't do anything else with the memory. I think you can enhance it into the BIOS, and that's about it. You can't do much. So this is running at 2400 megahertz, but at the moment it says DRAM frequency is at 1196 megahertz, and it's got 16 gigabytes of that. So when we start to use it, it will probably start to use it, but not too much. It won't go right up there because it uses it for other stuff. And then the graphics card is a GTX 1070, and that is an MSI graphics card as well. The memory is 4004 megahertz, and then we've got a core speed of 1518 megahertz, and it's GDR5. But yeah, so that's what's in that system there. Then we're going to go and check the idle temperatures at the moment, because at the moment it's idle, it's really quite quiet. And we're going to look at the hardware monitor and see what's going on. So at the moment, over all 4 cores, we have core 0 49 degrees, core 1 49 degrees, core 2 50 degrees, and core 3 50 degrees. So that's over 4 cores, core 0 being 1, but I said core 3 as being 3, which is actually 4. And yeah, so if we go to temperatures of the GPUs at 61 degrees at the moment, and it's just running idle. It's not even moving at the moment, it's actually just not moving. So when we start to run graphics, it will start to move and rotate. And temperature elsewhere, 28 to 30 degrees, which is really hardly anything. I think the I'm sure I did say that actually. What is the TDP on here? I think it might be 130 on this CPU. No, it's actually 65, sorry. TDP 65 watts in this CPU, which is super good. And average voltage core 1.135 volts. That's not too bad, and a little bit over to give you that little bit of an advantage. Anyway, let's get on with the crystal disk. So we've got a couple of drives in here. So we've got a mechanical drive which is 2 terabytes. So we're going to run that real quick. And we've also got M.2 slot as well that's populated, but we haven't got like the M.2 that is the really fast M.2 version. But it has got a slot there that if you buy one, you can actually take off the side and put one on there as well. So let's see the results for the 2 terabyte hard drive. It's a mechanical hard drive. It's still alright though. It's running at 7,200 RPM speed. Now we're going to go with the M.2 by Kingston in there. So this is a Seagate version, which is the 2 terabytes included in here, and now this is made by Kingston. So now we're going to go. So this is what M.2 does for you. It's actually a lot more faster. So we've got a read and a write speed of 552.8 megabytes per second and 323.9 megabytes per second write speed. It's okay for 4K, and the sequential speeds are really quite nice as well. This is going to be more to put on, how big is the, yes, 256 gigabytes of storage, so you could put a couple of games on there, and when you've actually not using the game anymore, you could pass it onto the 2 terabyte hard drive. The 2 terabyte hard drive could archive all your other games and also your music and your videos and all kinds of information that you want to just hide away, but anything you want quick access to, like Windows 10 operating system or Windows 9 if it really came out, Windows 7 if you're still using it, and a new Windows 10 that's I think it's out now. You basically have your operating system on there, your quick games, and a quick couple of pictures, and a quick couple of pictures, and for your websites and stuff like that. Or if you're doing any sort of work like After Effects, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, and all that sort of stuff, or illustration. That's what that will be used for. So that's out the way. MSI M.2 driver by Kingston. And now we're going to be using Valley Benchmark. So what we're going to do, we're going to go on to We're using this at stock 1920 by 1080 resolution. We've got one single monitor that we're using. We're going to put the quality is on ultra, and we're going to run it at 1920 by 1080p. And this has been used on this BenQ monitor because it looks really quite nice and fluid and stuff like that. So we're just going to run through the synthetic benchmarks, and we're going to set. So the quality is still on ultra, and we're going to benchmark it now. So on your screen you should be able to see frame rates per second going up and down really quickly. GeForce GTX 1070, graphics cards clocked at 1923 MHz, memory clocked at 4004 MHz. Temperature of this graphics card is running a little bit warm. It's starting to ramp up now as well with the graphics card going, and it's at 68 degrees. So we got on minimum frame rate of 50 frames per second, a maximum frame rate of 209.6 on 1920 by 1080. So you can imagine running this slightly higher at a 2.5K sort of screen. You can have your frame rates kind of slashed into half with around 109 frame rates per second. But that is pretty awesome. So you could definitely run this at 4K, but you would definitely start to slouch and your frame rates would definitely be slashed. But at 1920 by 1080 resolution and 2.5K, or even a lower benchmark that's a little bit higher than 1080p, you would be rocking and rolling. It's definitely awesome. But anyway, let's see what the final benchmark is after Unigine Valley stops. So Unigine Valley benchmark has been completed. It's actually done. So we've got frame rates per second, which is 136.9 frame rates per second, score of 57.28. So we've got minimum frames per second 40.7, which is awesome. That is better than PlayStation and Xbox at lowest resolution, but it's still a gaming console, so I haven't got any beef with it. At the end of the day, it's what it is. Then you've got maximum frame rate per second, 209.6 frames per second, 1920 1080 resolution is awesome. So this is superb. Actually, why am I on Windows 8? I just realised I should be on Windows 10. I'm on Windows 8, so at least you can see the builds at 64-bit, 7700 CPU, when it clocks at 3.6 gigahertz, and NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070, and that is the update of what that is. And yeah, directional 3D 11, and yeah, everything on ultra. That is super cool. So what we got, the graphics card is at 69 degrees, which is running a little bit hot. You can turn the fan up if you want to, but at the moment, even through the whole synthetic benchmark, I did not once hear the fans really ramp up at all. It is going around, but it is still staying under 70 degrees. It's gone down to 66 now, so that's not too bad. But now we're going to have a look at Cinebench now. We're going to see how that performs with rendering, because obviously it's got CUDA cores in that graphics card, so let's see how it renders. So this is Cinebench R15. So now we're going to test the CPU and the graphics card combined and see what we come up with. So we're going to hit run. And basically these little squares is what you render. So if you're using Cinebench as animation and you are a maker, then you will know that each one of these is one actual frame per second. So the faster this goes round, the quicker you can get your animation done. So So you can imagine how long it will take to do a Coca-Cola advert or anything that's got any special effects like this to do. And that's why computers are expensive. So this CPU got 872 as a score, which is under the Intel Core 3930K CPU, which is one of my old computers from probably 4 or 5 years ago. It's got 6 cores and it's clocked at 3.3 gigahertz, and you can overclock it. And this processor is a new generation and it's just under that. So there you go. So let's have a look at OpenGL and see what that comes up with. So you're going to see some cars speeding around, and it's all about polygons and stuff like that. And this is what will make the graphics card work hard. So in a moment, graphics card's not even moving, but it will be. So it still ain't moving yet. Right, here we go. Graphics card's not moving, that's not bad. Yep, and it's starting to spin now. So this is showing all the polygons running all at the same time, millions and millions and millions. And this is what you come up with, some animation of how smooth the graphics are handling what you're actually making, because people make this sort of stuff and they need really strong graphics cards for that. And it just shows that this is a gaming graphics card and it can handle this with no problems. So they're saying that it ran 128.5 frames per second. That is super awesome. So now it's all about gaming. Let's talk more about the DSB1 gaming mouse. So it's got a DPI that's standard from 800 and then 1200 as default, and it goes all the way up to 1600. You've got a frame rate of up to 4000 frame rates per second, and lovely ergonomic design. It feels really nice in the left and the right hand, even though I'm just right-handed. And it's also got anti-slip surface as well. It comes with 8 2-gram weights to suit variety of games. So you can customize your perfect weight for your perfect feel. Now I had a few different weights in there, depending on if your hand is more lopsided to the right or to the left. You can customize the weights really quite simply by moving the weights around the little clock that's actually situated to fit all the weights in. You have a cable that is not braided, but it seems okay. It doesn't really bother me when I'm actually playing any games or anything like that. It feels really robust, it feels really nice and comfortable, but it is a finger magnet, but just a little bit of a cloth to wipe off the excess of the actual clicks, the left and right. It will be clean and good as new again. I find it easy to scroll with the scroll wheel, and if I want to change from DPI to DPI, I could easily do that easy with my left finger, and all the left and right clicks and claw grab is really easy in this mouse. And I do like the RGBs or the LEDs that are situated into the mouse. I didn't have any problems with it affecting my gameplay. It has 6 buttons, so it's got 2 on the left hand side of your thumb, and it also has the left and the right click, and the scroll wheel is a clicky button and the DPI button. So 6 buttons all in all. It's really nicely illuminated, and it stands and shows and oozes great quality. Well, I'm about to overclock this game because I really want to get really high frame rates and everything like that. But I know you've already got high frames and everything like that already, but let's... Right. Obviously, the one that I've got is the Aegis 3, and it's non-overclockable. You can overclock the graphics card though with MSI burner, which I did say. I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can to get that software and then overclock your graphics card if you've got a similar graphics card. What is overclockable is the TI3 and the Aegis X3. This one is not overclockable, but it doesn't really matter because it really does perform really well, and you've seen by all the synthetic benchmarks and also me gaming. So there you go. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, because I can't understand why you wouldn't like this video. This video is pretty cool, don't you think? Especially with all the mystic lights. And I did forget to actually say that you can actually use your mobile phone or tablet or the desktop app, which I'll leave in the link in the description down below, where you can mess around with all the RGB lights, because you can control it with your music. So if your music's going around, the music and the lights go together, and you can play the games together and all that sort of stuff, and you can have it blue, red, green. It's got like 16.9 million colours. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And that's the front and the side. But anyway, please do not dislike the video, you don't need to. But if you do, just dislike it down below. If you've got this computer, which you won't have because it's not out yet, but when the video's been out for a while, you may have this computer. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you thought about it, and let other people know what you thought about it, because it is pretty awesome. I didn't like it when I first saw it. I thought it was pretty ugly, and I thought it wasn't going to really perform that well. It is super quiet, even at gaming at high ultra frame rates, which you saw me do on a very hungry graphical game. And like the CPU, I don't know, it's just so quiet. It's awesome. MSI, thumbs up, you've done really well. You've done me proud, lad. Anyway, see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.